morning everyone. It's about 5:30 in the morning and it's not cold, cool. It's July and I'm going to see if I can do a stealth launch in the kayak off Linton Launch Point, Linton Marina, Linton campsite. So I've got all my gear and stuff, as you can see. I'm fully laden. I'm going in the Blueborn Coasteer and it's going to be a good opportunity to test out the Etrex 35 Touch to see how it's a GPS system, to see how it tracks my route. I'll see you soon. So we're here at Linton Lock and it's going to be no problem getting off here by the look of it. It's lovely actually, it's quite mild. Apologies for the shaky cam. I'm not using the gimbal today, partly because it's very electrical and I don't want to bring it out for fear of dropping it. The Ouse is looking a bit frothy. I'm just going to flip the camera around. There's the weir up ahead and the lock is there. So obviously the Ouse drops off there and then boats come through the lock. So we're coming in beneath the lock. Now look at all this froth here, a bit weird. So we're going to launch off here. It's actually a really nice morning. I've never been on this stretch of the river before. The last time I launched on this part of the Ouse, it was further up at Old Walk, a place called Old Walk. And there's a lovely little launch point there. It's very popular actually with boaters and so on. And I kind of fancied exploring down here. My only concern is, looking at the current, is I'm going to be going that way first, in that direction first. And I'm just hoping it's not going to be too much of a struggle coming back. Anyway, I'm going to get set up, get the boat on the water. Quite excited actually. So here we are, ready to go. And I thought I'd just quickly talk you through the rig and the way I've kind of got it set up. Attached to this handle there is a homemade safety rope for the oar, because even though this floats, you might lose it. If you drop it in the water, you don't want it floating away from you. And so I thought I'd create a little safety rope for that. The Etrex is there at the moment and I've attached that to a carabiner to the seat clip. It is waterproof, so it doesn't matter if it does get wet. The action cam is just... I love these tripods, these flexi leg tripods. They're so handy for so many things. So that's just one of the oar locks on the other side of the boat, Velcro, and then there's just a safety rope here just in case the camera does happen to fall in the water. I mean, it's never happened, but you never know, and better to be safe than sorry. And that rope's just attached to the footrest. I have made a modification there. I do find the footrest to be too high and I prefer the seat to be further forward. As you can see, there's a lot of Velcro at the back there, and I just found it creates a better rowing position. The big piece of white foam you can see there is cards on the table. As much as I love this kayak, that seat's as uncomfy as hell, and if you sat in it for 4 or 5 hours, your bum cheeks really burn by the time you get out. They're really sore, so that bit of foam just helps take the edge off. I do need a better option for that. An inflatable cushion, I think, would probably do the trick, just as an additional buoyancy aid and to make it a bit more comfortable. And as you can see, the dry bag, that'll sit in the front of the kayak. Now, because of the way this is designed, it's actually designed more for going on sea waves, wavy waves, the ocean and seas and stuff. Hence the open back, so that any water that flows in flows out the back. What that also means is water flows in as you're paddling and it does gather in that front area there. But it's not a major problem. As I say, if you've got a dry bag, you're okay. Key factors, there's a few snacks in here. There's a separate dry bag specifically for the phone, which I'm recording on at this moment in time. All my keys and stuff are in there with a few snacks and a bit of vape, so that I can pull over at any time and have a little, just sit on the water and have a little vape and a little sip of coffee. Okay, let's get on the water. There's a heron sat on the riverbank there. I've just gently eased past and got my phone out so I can take a quick couple of seconds of footage. So many sand martins bobbing about as well. Look at them go. All nested in the banks. Breakfast. Swans. I don't know if you can see this, but I am literally just being swept down with the current. I'm not having to paddle hard at all. Can you see how that's moving around the boat? So much foam. Kind of looks like the breweries have been chucking into the water. That up ahead, that trail, is all foam across the river. I'm loving having the eTrex 35T Touch GPS with me as we mooch down the river. Because at least with the map on it, let me see if I can show you, you can see whereabouts you are and what you're adjacent to in terms of the land and so on. And yeah, it's actually really cool, especially when you're looking for potential places to possibly wild camp at some point. It's unusual, it's like just a standalone tower. Into a little inlet while I make a decision about what I'm going to do, because, well, I'll show you. The current is a lot stronger than I anticipated. You can see how fast that's kind of flowing past me. If I focus on the boat, so you've got a static point, and I've just rowed back about a couple of 100 yards and it really took some doing, and I don't know whether to go any further. Let's have a quick look on the sat-nav GPS and see how far I've come. So top right, trip odometer, I've done nearly 2 miles. And it hasn't taken me that long, 46 minutes. I mean, that's no time to do 2 miles in one of these little kayaks. I don't know whether to go press forward, because obviously rowing back 2 miles against the current is going to take some doing, but then again I can always find little inlets like this and have a breather. And I do want to go a little bit further. If I just move that along, I was hoping to get to that point there where the river Nidd joins the Ouse. Near Nun Monkton, and I'm not far away. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go down that far and then probably turn round. Right, so that's the River Nidd coming in and joining the Ouse, going downstream. Now I've been, let me just move this around. I've been here before, stood and looked at this point from that bank, because that's Nun Monkton. Nun Monkton's a beautiful little place. If you've never been, it's worth checking out. And look at those trees, it's just glorious. So I'm going to pull up onto that jetty, that pontoon jetty, for 5 minutes and take a break. And then I'm going to row back upstream. Now, what I think is the case is I'm actually going to avoid the foam path, because I think the foam is actually an indicator of where the current is stronger. So I might end up breaking river rules and rowing on the wrong side, but in the interest of actually being able to get back, that's what I'm going to do. So having looked at the GPS, I've done 2.5 miles, and I did the last half a mile in less than 15 minutes, which is pretty good going in a inflatable kayak. So yeah, I'm going to take a break over there and then head back. Well, that's a fascinating find. See that white thing bobbing around in the water? I wasn't sure what it was, so I thought it was a ball. I flipped it over with the oar, and I'm not going to do that again just now until I put the phone down, but I'll show you what it is in a second when I've put it on the mooring. And there it is. I think what we have there, ladies and gentlemen, is a swan egg. It's very heavy at that bottom end. It's weighted that way, which is why it was floating. You can see the green algae mark. Not quite sure why it's been abandoned. That looks like a swan egg to me. It's got a hard shell, whatever it is. I'm in two minds as to whether to take it with me. Time will tell. I think it would be kind of interesting to have a look inside this abandoned egg, and I may regret this. That's not quite what I expected. That's very gunky and very yellow and a hell of a mess. So I don't really know what's gone on there. Obviously the bird that discarded this knew something was wrong. I'll chuck it in the river and it can be food for something else. Circle of life. Right, so I'm back on the boat, and in a minute I'm going to press resume on the e-Trex to continue the journey back. I've changed the battery in the action cam. Now normally I do stop motion time-lapse footage in one direction and normal footage in the other direction, so that I have two different types of footage. However, in this particular instance, because I anticipate that going back is going to be considerably harder and longer and not look like quite the relaxing journey I kind of like to record, then I'm just going to leave it on time lapse. Okay, wish me luck. Here goes. It's hard work. I've just pulled into an inlet so I can take a breather from the current, because it is going like the clappers and it is really really hard work. And even now, even in this inlet, it's pulling me out with it. I think this is where I stopped when I was just making a decision as to whether to go forward or not. Anyway, good thing is I'm getting a good back and shoulder workout today, but it is going to take me considerably longer to get back than it did to get down the river. Okay, I'm getting taken into the stream, so yeah, I'm going to crack on. I've been on the Ouse loads of times in this kayak, in the Challenger K1 and the K2, the two-man kayak. The mistake I've made today is I failed to take into account that for the last 48 hours it's rained quite heavily. That's why the current is stronger. So, because everywhere I've been before I've rowed upstream and downstream and it's not been a problem. But the reason it's flowing a lot stronger today, and probably what accounting for the foam, is the fact that coming off that weir that was right at the beginning, didn't dawn on me. So it's just something to bear in mind when you are river kayaking, to bear in mind the rainfall the day or two previously. That is going to have an impact on the current. What's really frustrating about this today is rowing back, it actually feels like I'm going an awful lot faster than I am into the current, because when you look at the river, all the foam is flowing towards me as I'm flowing against it. But then when I look at the bank, and for every 3-foot stroke I make with a paddle, I'm only moving about 1 foot to 6 inches. Anyway, onwards. Stopped off at the Dorney Arms pontoon at Newton on Ouse. I'm not actually that far away from where I'm going. I like that church spire, by the way, that's why I just hand the camera to that. I'm actually heading up that way, and to be honest with you, the Linton on Ouse is literally just around that bend. However, my backside is so numb, I just thought I need to stop for a minute. You can see how fast that current's flowing, can't you? I mean, it's been such hard work. As I say, I made a huge boob today, not taking into account the rainfall. So not long to go, just going to stop off here, stretch my legs, have a breather, have a coffee, have a vape, and then I'll be back in the kayak, kayaking with Carlos. I don't know how clear this is going to be, but right in the middle of the frame, that heron is over there. And I've been watching him fishing as I've been paddling up. There he goes. I just pulled into an inlet. You can see the current's still pretty strong. I think it's eased up a little bit. Anyway, Geronimo, onwards. might recall I said that one of the advantages to this boat was you could drain all the water out of it, which is currently what I'm doing at the moment. I've got it tipped and I'm just draining the water that's been caught in the boat back into the Ouse. So I'm actually back at Linton Loch Marina. Not quite sure what time it is at the moment, but it's been a good day. I've really enjoyed myself. Been a hard paddle back, but good exercise. I did stop off in the, I don't know whether I'm going to leave this in the footage, but when I stopped off at the Dorney Arms pontoon, I got a phone call from my sister just as I jumped back in the kayak, and it's about the situation with my dad, and I haven't talked about that yet, but more on that to come. So yeah, nearly got this drained off. All that remains now is for me to get it deflated, get it back in the car, and dry it out properly at home so that it doesn't get mildewy, especially with it having a nylon coating, because it would be prone to that. So yeah, I've really enjoyed this morning. If you like this and you like what I'm doing on this channel, please subscribe. It does help. It doesn't cost you anything, and it just helps get my viewing figures up and so on. So if you could do that, that'd be brilliant. And if you don't like what I'm doing, well, subscribe anyway. It's not going to hurt you. All you get is a notification to say that I've posted a new video. Okay, well, that's the uncomfortable bit out of the way. Catch you later. Bye.